Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is none of your business, but you can call me Biscuit. And today, we are reacting to this, just now. Hasan Piker is officially 500% fucked. Now, you're probably wondering why we are reacting to this. Well, I don't know if you know who this guy is. This Hasan as I've been calling him. Well, he is the largest left-wing political creator on the internet right now, specifically on Twitch, where on Twitch they had the executives there, well, specifically the CEO, Dan Clancy, I almost said Tom Clancy, has an immense amount of bias towards this guy. Now, if you're wondering who he is, well, he's a very controversial streamer within the space of politics. He is known for having a lot of very absurd things to say. In fact, I have a list of them on my phone here, and including, but not limited to, believing America deserved 9/11, supporting multiple terrorist groups, including comparing one of them, the Houthis, to Luffy from One Piece, and even compared this one guy that he thought was a Houthi member to Anne Frank, a Jewish girl who was brutally murdered in the Holocaust, who believed in the good of all humanity. And this is considering the fact that part of the Houthi slogan includes the phrase, "a curse upon the Jews." I highly doubt that the Houthis want anything to do with Anne Frank, and in fact, they probably consider it an insult that that Hasan is comparing them to a Jew. With regards to October 7th, he denies that grapes ever happened there, and that if they did happen, that he simply does not care. And while on the subject of that part of the world, he's mentioned how babies born within the West Bank settlements are valid military targets and deserve to die. And speaking more on the region, he's in support of a man named Hasan Nasriblis. I refer to him as Nasriblis for reasons that'll only be clear later on. Who was a man who not only led the terror group in Lebanon known as, I refer to them as Hezbollah. I may as well tell you now, Iblis is the Quranic version of the devil, and that's who they actually worship. They don't worship Allah, they worship Iblis. I'm just saying. And I have the papers to prove it. But this man, Hasan Nasriblis, led to the deaths of tens of thousands of people in Syria. And going back to the Houthis, due to the fact that they're constantly diverting humanitarian aid to themselves, have been leading to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Yemeni citizens as well. And on that note, with regards to Hamas is known for diverting its own aid to themselves. In fact, Hamas, or specifically the leaders of Hamas, were billionaires that had mansions in Qatar, and they made all that money from all of the aid that was supposed to be for the people of Gaza, but they use it on themselves in order to get weapons, make tunnels, and hide out in playgrounds and hospitals using human shields so that they could put the blame on Israel, saying, "Oh look, they're trying to kill us out." Now, if you were to ask me if I'm pro-Israel or pro-Palestine, I will only say to you I am myself. I am none of your business. So therefore, I'm not going to tell you whether I'm pro this or pro that. Just know I'm just telling you guys as it is, without having to worry about what anyone has to say on the matter. Another thing is that he's accused Nux right here, who, as Nux himself describes, is his quote-unquote Blue Voldemort. Hasan knows exactly who Nux is, but refuses to say his name on stream, to the point to where anyone who types his name in his chat gets banned. So much so that people have uploaded videos wondering, wait, is it true that if you type in Nux in his chat you get banned? And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So what happened in way back when, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but still, is that he's accused Nux of being a child lover, basically, because he and Mudahar, from Some Ordinary Gamers, were making fun of cringe anime stuff that came out of Japan, and he just equated that to Nux being someone who pleasures himself to lewd images of Japanese anime kids, which obviously is not true. And this is despite the fact that Hasan himself went to a brothel in Germany that was later raided for sex trafficking teenagers. And it just recently it was revealed that he seems to have gone to Diddy parties, or at least one, as he remembers watching a video of kids opening Christmas presents. He has also called for the death of a sitting United States senator over some fraud within the medical system, saying, "If you cared about Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott." And that's word for word what he said. I don't remember if it's Medicaid or Medicare. I don't really care, honestly. He's also made some comments in the past about Tibet, how it was perfectly okay for China to take over Tibet and suppress Tibetan culture, basically calling Tibet an inferior culture. He didn't exactly say that. In fact, that was something that Asmongold had said about the people of Gaza, describing them as an inferior culture. The only difference between Hasan and Asmongold is that Asmongold had a total wake-up call after that, realizing the error of his ways, but Hasan, no, he doesn't think what he did was wrong. And then, regarding Russia and Ukraine, he thought it was perfectly okay for Russia to annex Crimea, and he later said that there was no way that Russia was going to invade again, arguing with his chat about this. And then literally a day or two or so later, Russia invades Ukraine. And his most recent escapade was that he was allegedly detained at an airport for 2 hours, even though we have a full timeline of exactly what happened to Hasan, and he was not detained for 2 hours. In fact, what they had said was that he wasn't technically being detained, so much so that the people that were working at the airport had to go on the news and say it was just a standard procedure. He was never detained, and especially not for 2 hours. But of course, the mainstream media had to report on it and say, political leftist streamer on Twitch was detained at the airport for being against the current administration, being a political prisoner. This is not true. It is complete bull crap. He was never detained, much less for 2 hours. He was not a political prisoner. And I distinctly remember the New York Times writing a puff piece about him, saying that he was a progressive mind in a MAGA body. And they showed a screenshot that happened to feature his chat at the top of it. And his chat was saying some very uncouth things, to put it lightly. And so the New York Times had to crop it out. So even the mainstream media is picking up on who he is, but they might not necessarily be against him, simply because he's against the current administration. But regardless, the reason why I'm reacting to this in particular is because Nux, in his most recent video before this, where Hasan is 490% fucked, Nux said that 500 was going to be a big one, so I felt that it's only appropriate and fair that I react to this. I've already done a test reaction on a live stream that I did as part of my debut, where only a select few people were watching, just so I could give them an overview on just who Hasan is and what he stands for. And so I felt that it would be a good time to properly react to this and eventually upload it. Whether or not I react to the whole thing, or I cut out parts of it to motivate you guys to watch the whole thing, I guess I'll decide that in post-production. But either way, I've been keeping up with the How Fucked is Hasan Piker franchise since before it even began. Since it was its before 0%, basically. And so I know pretty much the entire play-by-play of all of Hasan's bullshit up to now. And the 500% fucked is basically the halfway mark. And it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna be, as the Trumpanor would say, it's gonna be big, it's gonna be crazy, every 4 years. But we're gonna get started. But allow me to do this real quick. I'm going to increase the speed so I don't have to waste too much time, because I want to be sure to edit it later on. But we're going to see what happens. Now, I don't expect this reaction to just blow up overnight. Maybe it'll get some attention because it's topical, and then but that would cause me to be associated with slop tubers. But guess what? If reacting to this makes me a slop tuber and it brings attention to my channel, then so be it. But I am going to I'm going to try to provide enough commentary so that it's as transformative as possible. Because I remember not too long ago, Nux was calling out KSI for all of the stuff that he'd been doing with like Logan Paul and Mr. Beast. I'd been keeping up with all that as well, and one of the things he criticized KSI for is in his little reactions to like TikToks and stuff. KSI wasn't being transformative. He was just casually reacting to these videos and not providing any suitable commentary, nor was he crediting the makers of those videos. Here, I'm going to do my best to be transformative and provide enough commentary, while also giving all the credit to Nux here, so that I can upload this under fair use. So, we're going to go deep into this. I've been keeping up with this since the beginning, and if this gets enough attention, maybe even the Hasan Hate Brigade will come after me. But guess what? That's a risk that I'm willing to take. I feel like that this is important, knowing how critically acclaimed that this series is. I think it's only fair that I at least help spread the word. I'm probably not going to react to everything that he uploads, considering that he uploads to this channel at least twice a day, and I have a job, so I can't really upload reactions to everything. But I'll definitely make reactions to some of the more major milestones, just so I can keep up to date. But without further ado, once we click play, there's no turning back, and so it's time. You've seen all those slop tubers with the thumbnails. It's like, it's the end. It's ended. It's over. He's gone. So let's get started.
We are halfway there. Hasan Piker is 500% cooked.
Let's
At
go.
1,000%, he will be in prison. But
Yep.
I have to say, it's currently sitting pretty.
He'll either be in prison or he'll be sent to El Salvador. One of the two. It kind of depends on what they want to do. I don't know if they can revoke citizenship. I highly doubt it. But whatever the case is, 1000% is the moment when this series finally reaches its conclusion.
Pretty at 500%.
The hoax is up, Hasan. You have been randomly selected for secondary screening! I hope you guys like my little Nux impression. He has his Trumpanor, I have... Biztaku.
You have been randomly selected for secondary screening, Hasan Piker. Now, this is going to be the darkest video of the entire Hasan Piker is Effed franchise. Absolutely the darkest of the videos. I was planning for an entirely different video for the 500% special, but I'm probably going to make that a separate video. All right, we're going to be calling that content genocide.
Oh, jeez. No, I was going in expecting one thing. No, I'm actually kind of excited for this.
Hasan Piker, I have literally written the most incredible script ever, and you will lose your mind when we get there. But today, I wanted to talk about something else, which I think is honestly so much.
And I will be there for that. Once that video comes out, I will be ready for it. Oh, but this I have seen. I've seen Asmongold's reaction to it pop up in my recommendations, and I watched a little bit of it.
Much worse. This is the craziest thing you're ever going to see. So, this happened today. Two Israeli embassy staff were shot and killed in front of the Jewish Museum in D.C.
Yeah, I heard about this, and I'm like, of course, it's a guy who's in favor of what the Egyptians call the Palisade. I don't know if you guys know the origin of the name Palestine, but... I mean, some of you probably do. It's related to the name of Philistine, which is the group of people that used to live where Gaza is now. The Philistines were a group of Semitic-speaking Mycenaean Greeks. They're a group of Mycenaean Greeks that migrated there. We know that they were Mycenaean based off of their pottery and stuff, although the Bible says they're Egyptian, or at least of relation to Mitzrayim, but Greek-speaking Egyptians, basically. Let's just call them that. But the Egyptians themselves refer to the Philistines as the Palisade. So, fun fact.
This is a terrorist attack on American soil. The suspect shouted "Free Palestine" while being arrested. 3 law enforcement officials say his identity hasn't been released. The identity is now released. This is awful. Now, on CNN, they blamed Hasan directly. Hasan responded immediately.
Oh, CNN blamed Hasan, after reporting that Hasan got detained at the airport as a political prisoner, and now they pretty much turned on him. Is that what I'm getting at?
So we are going to be going through this entire event, and now I am not going to do the thing that everyone else that's covering this story is doing. I'm not just going to say Hasan's name was tied to an actual terrorist attack murder of 2 people in Washington, D.C. I am instead going to tell you how he got to this point, and then I'm going to show you his response, where he essentially, without extra words, kind of condones the terrorist attack.
Yeah, I had mentioned that earlier. He doesn't care. If you are against what he believes, then you're basically a child lover, and a national socialist, and a fascismo, and all of the insults that the alt-left neolibs have to say. My heart... Yeah, oh yeah, I saw this tweet.
So J.D. Vance tweeted, "My heart breaks for Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky, who were murdered last night at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Anti-Semitic violence has no place in the United States. We're praying for the families and all of our friends at the Israeli embassy where the 2 victims were."
And people say that the administration is run by National Socialists, which is what NAZI is short for. It's short for National Socialist, or Nationalsozialist, which is ironic, considering that Hasan is a self-proclaimed socialist. He's a communist with a Gucci bag, got his product kick, gotta have his swag. And I just saw this tweet at the bottom. Fucking heretic looking ass, I can tell.
These two people were about to get engaged. Apparently, this dude already bought the ring to get engaged to his wife, and they were killed. They were just shot. They were shot down because they thought they were Jewish. I'm pretty sure they were both ethnically Jewish, also Christians. And it's insane that this actually...
Never mind.
2 random Israeli embassy staff got executed in DC today. Suspiciously, 2 days ago, the second biggest Twitch streamer and biggest leftist political streamer held a 20,000 person live stream with George Giannitis, whatever.
Oh. This guy. This guy right here. I have one thing to say about him. Fuck him. Fuck that bastard. All will be explained later on. Nux said that he was going to make a video about this guy specifically, and I will be there for that.
An Australian guy who has constantly urged for Americans to kill random Israelis.
Oh, he's Australian. I've been wondering what his ethnicity or his nationality is, because he has an accent, but I could never pinpoint what it was. For some reason, someone said that he's Argentinian. He's Australian. Okay, I was wondering. Nah, I have a lot to say about this guy right here. But I might save it for when Nux uploads his video about that guy, because he said that he would at some point. When that happens, I'm gonna react to it, and I'm gonna go full nuclear bitch-ass motherfucker.
We are going into this detail because this individual has an entire Twitter history of saying it's very awesome that the USA allows you to buy weapons like these easily. They can be utilized very effectively from a grassy knoll or a book depository.
Yeah. There's more to it than that. There's a whole lot more to what he said. For context, I remember watching at least 1 or 2 videos by him, and I thought that they were... he had some interesting points to make with regards to, let's call them, certain topics. But then, he made a video slandering another YouTuber by the name of Metatron, who I am a frequent viewer of. I watch a lot of his content. And I could give the context, but I kind of want to get on with the video, but maybe when Nux's video about him comes out, if he makes it. Nux said that he would make a video about this guy. I refuse to say his name because I just don't want to. But yeah, there's this whole thing between these guys and another guy named Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions. Ethan Klein made a content nuke exposing Hasan, his beliefs, and all of the bullshit that he'd been up to for the past who knows how long. They used to work together, but Hasan became more and more radicalized, and they pretty much distanced themselves. And the whole situation got so bad that this guy, now I don't know if he's the one that perpetrated it, but CPS was called to Ethan's house because they assume that their kids are rolling around in dog shit because Ethan revealed a little too much about his home life, that they all contracted a disease of some kind known as Giardia that he claims was unknown to science, even though it has a name. Yeah, unknown to science. And we know what it's called. So clearly, people do know what it is, and science does know what it is, but he claims that it's unknown to science. So you can imagine exactly the kind of bullshit that we're dealing with here. But regardless, after that, someone named iDubbbz, you guys have probably heard of him. He made a series called Content Cop. I've never really watched Content Cop. I've known about iDubbbz. I knew who he was, but I never watched any of his content because it didn't interest me. He tried to make a Content Cop on Ethan Klein, and it backfired tremendously. So much so that he tried to double down, and that backfired tremendously. There's a whole lot more to it than this, but this is just a TLDR.
And so he collabs with Hasan, and Hasan reacts to him all the time, platforming him. And there's a clip from their discussion 2 days ago that I felt like showing you before we get into Hasan's actual response today. Now, he had a 3-hour discussion with this guy on a live stream, and I wanted to show you 1 minute. I actually went through it. I took notes. I was thinking of making an entire video specifically about this, but I'll just show you this clip because I think it's important.
But they also themselves have no real reason, no real motivation for doing so, because ultimately, you know, what you said about Vietnam probably rings true. It does not affect them that much. It affects...
Meaning the American populace. He's saying that the American populace doesn't really care about Vietnam and stuff.
That's debatable. A lot of people back then cared about Vietnam. You had people that were very much against the war in Vietnam, and then when Vietnam soldiers came back, they were all basically mocked and ridiculed for basically losing the war. And so I think Vietnam was kind of a big deal back then.
Some of them psychologically, and that is about it. They don't see any material consequences from it. You know, there has not been like a massive adverse reaction that could turn them against it. Like, for example, like the IRA.
This is Bad Empanada with Hasan directly advising an IRA-style terrorist movement to start in the United States of America to bomb and murder American civilians to get them to stop supporting Israel.
For those that don't know, the IRA is an Irish rebel group that seeks to unite Northern Ireland with the Republic of Ireland. And yeah, they're very much like opposed to the fact that the British Crown has control over Northern Ireland, and they wish for Ireland to be fully united.
For example, did a lot to like instill like fatigue in the British public on that guy.
Right, so, and you see Hasan's nodding along. They're advocating for an IRA-style terrorist organization, IRA is from Ireland, to start murdering, bombing, and assassinating people in America to make Americans fatigued about supporting Israel.
Government to try and look for some sort of solution to the troubles.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. There's nothing like it anywhere.
Wow,
Not at all.
so sad.
Well, there's no situation historically that has existed where the captive population has been this thoroughly, at least in contemporary history that I can think of, where the captive population has been this thoroughly ethnically cleansed in broad daylight without any sort of material support to offer from other countries, right?
Yeah, so essentially what he is saying is, you're so right, there needs to be some sort of help in other countries, like this IRA-style terrorist group, maybe. That's kind of what he's advocating for in front of a live stream of tens of thousands of people, right? You got to realize what's happening.
Like, you have no...
Sorry, I was going to say something, but I don't really know exactly how to put it into words. I was going to make a comment about the concept of the cleansing of ethnicities and whether or not it truly is happening. Now, I don't doubt that there are people within the Israeli government that want to get rid of the people in Gaza and the West Bank. I don't doubt that those people exist. But to equate that sentiment with the entire population of Israel, that's just not true. I'm pretty sure there are people like that exist in other countries, where they'll have this one ethnic group that's there, and they'll be opposed to a different one, or at least some of the more extreme members of that group will be opposed to another one. I don't know if you guys know what's going on in South Africa, but for some reason, it's okay when it's one side, but if it's another side that's doing it, somehow it's even worse. At least in the mind of Hasan and this guy.
Cuban example, you have no USSR example, and the role that they might have played in the ANC's efforts to resist against the apartheid structure in South Africa. And you certainly don't have American congresspersons doing arms trafficking to Hamas in the way that they did to the IRA.
This is, again, essentially, Hasan saying, I want the IRA to have a IRA-style terrorist group in America where American congressmen are funneling weapons to terrorists. Do
you want to know what the irony is? This side of the political spectrum, the left, right? They're supposed to be all, like, anti-gun. They're all about gun control, yet here's the same side of the spectrum saying, hey, let's give all of these people guns and see what happens.
murder people both in Israel and also in America, to make American fatigue to get them to stop supporting Israel.
Had American conservative politicians of Irish background doing arms shipments to the IRA at a certain point. You could fundraise for the IRA in American bars, right?
Right. So he directly wants to start fundraising for a terrorist organization to start murdering people in America. He keeps yapping like this about how it's such a beautiful solution. Even the craziest part of this entire debate with him, in my opinion, is the fact that Hasan actually accidentally leaks his full strategy. If you go here in this
Accidentally leaks. Oh no, he knew exactly what he was doing. Or maybe he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he didn't want to leak. You're looking too deep into this, Nux. Maybe he's just... I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. Yeah, he accidentally leaks his plans. You see, it's like when R. Kelly peed on those teenage girls. And Riley Freeman from the Boondocks is all like, I could pee in the toilet and it's okay, but if I pee on a person, it's not. But what if I'm peeing and Huey's in the bathroom and I accidentally pee on Huey? Should I go to jail then? So Hasan accidentally revealed his plans to fuck shit up in the US.
debate at an hour, 11 minutes, and 36 seconds. Hasan says the craziest thing ever.
And also, I always say, Bad Empanada and I don't disagree on our ultimate goals. We just disagree on methods.
Bad Empanada stated many times his ultimate goals is the complete downfall of Western civilization and the death of all Jews.
That pretty much describes a lot of these terrorist organizations. There is that Mahmoud is it Khalil or Khalil? I don't remember. I just know his first name is Mahmoud. Like that Mahmoud Khalil guy who was here in the US on a visa, on a student visa. He was going to universities in order to share what is essentially terrorist propaganda that seeks the downfall of the West and death to America. And students at these colleges are unironically chanting these things like death to America and beating up on Jewish students simply for being Jewish. They might not even necessarily support Israel. I know that the Hasidic Jews of New York are very anti-Israel because they believe that the Jews shouldn't be allowed to have a state unless the Messiah comes to build a new temple. So I don't really blame them for being on Hasan's side, even if they might not necessarily know who he actually is and what he stands for. If they found out, they probably wouldn't be siding with him. But the Hasidic Jewish community in New York doesn't really concern themselves too much with what happens in the world, as their sole focus is on studying the Torah, among other things. In fact, I don't remember if it was Nux or someone else talking about how Hasidic Jews don't really know, at least the ones in New York, don't know that much about what's going on in the world. And they say, you ask them, how do you feel about the war in Israel? And they'll say, there's a war in Israel? So even in that case, sometimes they just don't know about what goes on out there. All I know is that they're very anti-Israel anyway, so to equate all Jews to being Zionists, that's basically what it boils down to. Someone like Hasan will equate Jews to Zionists. Now, he doesn't explicitly say this, but it's very much implied that that is the case. And he will do everything in his power to try to sidestep the idea of him equating Jews to Zionists, to terrorists, basically. But he'll do everything in his power to dissuade you from thinking that, even though it's very obvious that he equates them all.
That is what his ultimate goal is. So when Hasan is going to be pretty upfront about saying that they don't disagree on ultimate goals, only methods, that kind of seems like that's kind of exactly what he's saying right here.
And something I just remembered is that Mahmoud Khalil had his visa revoked for promoting terrorism. But the mainstream media has twisted it in order to make it seem like that his free speech is being suppressed and that he's being denied due process, even though he's not technically a citizen. And he's supporting terrorist propaganda. Terrorist propaganda is not protected by free speech, especially if it's targeted against America. When you're shouting death to America, you know that it is not protected by free speech. Incitement of violence, promotion of terrorism, libel, and slander are not protected by free speech. But of course, the mainstream media, because they're so opposed to the current administration, will latch onto anything that fits their narrative, and they don't care how much they lie and manipulate. They just do whatever. And the thing is, the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil is based on a law that goes all the way back to 9/11, to 2001. Neither side of the spectrum argued over this. There was never any real disdain from either side of the political spectrum. It was a unanimous issue that yes, we got attacked, the towers fell, and we want to get rid of as many terrorists as we can. And that's exactly what happened. So they passed a law that if you are here on a visa or a green card or something like that, and you're inciting terrorism against the US, they will deport you back to your country of origin. It is only now, within this last election, that because it's the current administration that's deporting him under the pretense of a law that goes back to 2001, suddenly the Democrats in particular have a problem with it, and they're saying that he's being suppressed.
So, I'm glad we're all on the same page. I really felt like I needed to show you this one. Hasan is a genocide supporter. Hamas is a genocidal terrorist organization. This is the craziest thing ever. This guy advocates for another 9/11 all the time, alright? The craziest thing.
Yeah, I just mentioned that at the beginning of the video. Yes, Hasan said that America deserved 9/11. In fact, there's a friend within Hasan's posse that celebrated 9/11 with a cake and recreated 9/11 with that same cake. And this same person also said that they hope that American soldiers get PTSD.
Thing ever. So, anyway, in case you wanted to know what the IRA actually is known for, 22 bombs killing 9 people and injuring 130 in 1972. In 1998, bombs that killed 29 people and injured 200. In 1984, hotel bombings targeting the Prime Minister, which killed 5 and injured 31. Assassinations, criminal activities. He wants a terrorist group like this to start in the United States to doing this, essentially, to doing this to Americans. Alright? That is what he's advocating for here. So.
But the thing is, the reason why the IRA exists is because they wanted to have a united Ireland. There isn't exactly anything like that here in the US, unless we count... Well, we can't really count anything. You could say Canada because of the whole North Dakota 51st state thing, but that is more of a meme than anything else. I highly doubt that there is anyone that really actually wants to unite Canada with the US and is willing to kill people just to do that.
So, he also, he'll go out there and he'll scream and he'll yell, from the river to the sea, which is a genocidal slogan killing all Jews in Israel, from the river to the sea that is surrounding the country. And he says to globalize the Intifada. Well, the Intifada has been globalized. They're murdering Israelis on American soil.
Regarding this, this is unrelated, but I wanted to let you know that Granddad Bitches Freeman from the Boondocks had sworn a lifetime intifada against the movie industry for exorbitant prices and poor customer service, which, oddly enough, did not stop him from going to see movies.
So, anywho, I felt like we should get a little deeper into this, because this is crazy.
The psycho who killed 2 Israeli embassy staffers in last night donated to Joe Biden.
The psycho who murdered 2 Israeli embassy staffers in DC last night also apparently donated to Joe Biden. Suspicious. Interesting.
And then they're saying, let's see, embassy couple murdered in DC were, Messianic Jews, I see.
The Israeli embassy couple were Messianic Jews, ethnic Jews who believed in Jesus. He brought a ring to propose to her in Jerusalem next week. It's a real tragedy. These are the protests.
Before, globalize the Intifada. After, false flag. This lady right here. Hot take. People like this are heretics. And I can use their own scripture against them if need be.
All screaming and yelling, globalize the Intifada. Globalize the Intifada. Well, that's killing Jews around the world. Listen, it's almost like the argument that they've been making it's almost like they've literally been saying this the entire time. They have literally been saying what they were planning the whole time. Now, it gets wilder. So this is Dylan Saba. He is a staff attorney for some Palestinian movement, and he says it's an occupational hazard that random Israeli people are murdered of the streets of the United States. Interestingly enough.
Is that so? And yeah, here, this, of course, why not? Elias Rodriguez, who murdered 2, there regularly posted that. Yeah, pretty much.
Because it seems to happen very often when this goes down. This Kyoto leather guy, they ended up finding this is the account of the murderer. All right, that's the account of the murderer. Also known for tweeting death to America. Very interesting.
No, you read it wrong. It's day at to America. Obviously, you have to put the 3 Ks there because Lord knows every single white person in the U.S. wears pointy hats.
It's an attack on the West. It's not just Israel. Everyone knows this if they actually listen to the terrorists that say kill the Jews, kill the Christians, death to Israel, death to America. Anyone would know this. Now, horrifyingly enough, the reason why she was there in the embassy, this is the lady that was murdered, was because she was attending an affair to figure out how to get more aid into Gaza.
What? This lady was trying to help the people of Gaza, but this jackass decided no, he was like, no, we don't need your help. We can help ourselves. Is that what I'm getting at? Is that why this guy did this BS? Because no, if this is true, that she wanted to help the people, and she ended up getting killed solely because she was Israeli. No, that's bullshit. No, that's certified bullshit. No. The guy that did this, well, I'm not going to say it now because there's a time and a place, but if you remember what I said about that hijabi lady being a heretic, well, all will become clear depending on how popular my channel gets.
Which is just like, it's fucking unreal to see this happening in real time. It's absolutely insane. So this is Ilhan Omar.
Oh, Ilhan Omar. Oh, this bitch.
A known retard in the American Congress. They asked her, what are her thoughts? I mean, she is...
If you guys don't know, she married her brother just to give him citizenship.
Super pro-Palestine, to the point that she's borderline pro-Hamas. I wonder what she had to say about this.
Congresswoman Omar, can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened to you last night?
I'm gonna go for now.
I'm gonna go for now.
Heretic. This bitch is a heretic. And I can prove it using scripture.
I'm gonna go for now. What about? It's pretty bad. It's bad, right?
I'm gonna go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Send my condolences to his family. Even the Chinese guy on the Boondocks who fought with Ed Wonsler in the Junior-Senior Harmonious Kickball Tournament had at least some condolences for the referee. That was... We don't actually know what happened to the referee, but... he strangled himself to death and overdosed on amphetamines, but that's about it. That has nothing to do with this other than the fact that the Chinese guy said, send my condolences to his family.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild move. Absolutely. I'm gonna go for now. Definitely not the move, I would think. But hey, so Kanye West...
Oh yeah. Nux mentioned this the other day on one of his videos. He saved the people of Yehuda with this one. I am done with anti-Semitism. And do you know why? Because I am not a gay fish. Why does everyone keep calling me a gay fish? I am not gay, and I do not have gills. Because I know that I'm a gay fish.
Is the voice of reason. All right, listen. Kanye West is officially more reasonable than Hasan Piker. Bro dropped his Hail Hitler song, but after...
Oh my god, no, I remember this. I was on my way home from something, and Nux reported on this. Freaking Kanye's Hail the mustachioed Österreicher painter. I said that wrong. I apologize to anyone who speaks German, but yeah. But now he pretty much retracts his whole personality. No, if you guys know about the South Park episode with Cupid Key, where Cartman dressed up in that outfit that Kanye did in that interview, and now Kanye just... Yeah, it's amazing what can happen, like... I mean, whether or not he actually turned over a new leaf, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
After this happened, he tweets, "I'm done with anti-Semitism." He saved the Jews with this one. Unironically, a more normal response than Hasan Piker. Don't worry, we're gonna get to Hasan's response. It's pretty insane. So Nick Fuentes, in case...
Oh, and I know this guy, too. False flag, right on schedule. There goes free... Oh, shut up, bitch. You're such a bitch, hating-ass bitch. He's like an actual far-right person. The far left accuses people in the middle of being far right, but this guy actually is far right. Gay Mexican hit... I mean, this video will probably get demonetized anyway. I mean, this channel is only just starting out, so monetization is beyond the scope in the near future. But... yeah, this guy, the gay Mexican bitch-ass, I'm just gonna call him. Yeah, he believes that Christians need to launch a crusade against the Jews because he... Oops, sorry about that. I just hit my mic. He, like the rest of the actual far right, and I mean the real far right, as I said earlier, yeah, believe that Jews run the world the same way that Kanye West thought that Jews run Hollywood, or rather that Cartman thought that Jews run Hollywood. Yeah, this guy allegedly sucked some guy named Destiny's dick. Destiny is a sex pest. That's all you need to know about him. And he's also a white supremacist, even though he's Mexican. But I don't really know that much about him other than what Nux has provided.
In case you're unaware who this is, he's the largest political neo-Nazi type guy. Like, he advocates for a holy war against the Jews all the time.
Yeah, I just
goes
said that.
Flag right on schedule, saying that, oh, obviously Israel must have killed their own people to get people to feel bad for the thing that...
No, he needs to make another video on Candace Owens ASAP. I will be right on that. No, his Candace Owens videos are fucking hilarious.
Just like, bro, come on, gay Mexican Hitler. You gotta come up with something original, bro. Please, man. Insane. Anyway, Haaretz, which is a super leftist Israeli news organization, said that delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza was the focus of the DC event where the 2 people were killed, as a corroboration of what I showed you earlier. This is an instance of another mostly...
To liberation. This guy from the Party for Socialism and Liberation argued with the murder of this guy from something about Amazon headquarters, but they're not related. Okay. Another mostly peaceful protester, as Nux would say.
Peaceful protester. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
Definitely fucking awful. So this Elias Rodriguez is the guy that is the murderer from the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Many such cases. Many such cases. The murder of Laquan McDonald in Chicago and the Chicago bid for an Amazon headquarters are not 2 separate issues, but rather they are both connected. He's a Party of Socialism and Liberation, ladies and gentlemen. He showed up. He's one of the protester gangs.
Bro, looks like fucking discount Hasan here.
Gamers, mostly peaceful protesters, they're everywhere. So Hasan's uncle, Cenk Uygur, known for defending having sex with horses. This is...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he said that on his show at one point where he wanted to, wanting to pleasure animals. I'm not going to comment on that because it's none of my business. But he's the guy that runs the Young Turks. I watched Young Turks in the past, but I've stopped watching because the people that run that station are a bunch of bitch-ass motherfuckers, and I don't have any respect for them.
This is a true story, by the way. So this is what Cenk had to say. You can't do more harm to the Palestinian cause than by killing Israeli embassy staffers. It's obviously immoral and makes a whole community feel unsafe. It's also deeply counterproductive because it allows people to frame the whole peace movement as violent. Deeply stupid. I'll translate this because he said it in retardese. So I will translate it for you. What he's actually saying is, and this is the craziest thing you're ever going to see in your entire life, what he's actually saying is, killing Jews is bad because it makes Palestinians look bad. Definitely one of the most Cenk takes I've ever seen in my entire life.
Pretty much.
Hell yeah. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I guess. Yeah, you shouldn't kill Israelis.
Yeah, that's Hasan's uncle, by the way.
Just walking down the street in America. You know why? Because it makes Palestinians look stupid. Hasan Piker's uncle is sad that 2 Jews were murdered in America because it's counterproductive. Definitely one of the takes of all time. No one ever saw that one coming. And then...
Oh, shit. Oh, why do I feel like I know this guy?
A real bomb dropped on the entire Hasan Piker is Fuck franchise. Get ready, because I did not see this coming. So this was on CNN. But this is the founder of the Anti-Defamation League. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Anti-Defamation League myself, but this...
Yeah, the ADL will literally call anything anti-Semitism. Like, if you so much as criticize just Israel, not even Jewish people, just the state of Israel for whatever off-color things that they've done within their history. If you criticize them for that, then, oh, so you just hate Jews. No, I don't hate Jews, bitch. I hate people who use their identities as a means of doing a whole lot of bullshit.
This is crazy.
All of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs...
Stolen valor. Piker is not a gamer.
Yeah, I think I watched a little bit of Asmongold reacting to this, and one of the comments that popped up was like, the fact that they're calling him a gamer is, I don't even remember what it was.
Awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state.
Okay.
Like, extremists should not be empowered. Those who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is the moment where we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
So that's on CNN. This has gotten big.
Yeah, CNN is like one of the most left-leaning organizations. I mean, most of them are left-leaning. I remember back during like the 2016 election, people calling it either the corrupt news network or the Clinton news network, because you know damn well that they were gonna lick the whatevers of the Clintons. They couldn't help them any more than they already have. Ha 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 ha. So, you know you done messed up when even CNN is calling you out for your bullshit.
I have to say that Hasan Piker's Fuck franchise has absolutely contributed to putting him on the gaydar of a lot of people. But I also think it's because of his hoax. I think it's largely because of his gigantic hoax that he did where he went to the airport and he was like, oh, I was detained by Trump for supporting terrorists.
Yeah, they were temporarily rallying behind Hasan, being like, he was detained at the airport for opposing the administration. Which is a flat-out lie.
I can't believe this happened. Everyone talked about it. Everyone knows who he is now. And you look into the shit that he says, and he is just consistently talking and speaking and yammering about dehumanizing Jews and how babies are valid military targets and all.
Yep, I mentioned that earlier at the beginning of the video. He thinks that babies born... He said in the settlements, which implies the settlements that they've been building in the West Bank, that if you were born in the West Bank settlements, that you deserve to get shot.
All of that shit. So on CNN, he was directly named tied to this shit. Now, a lot of people don't actually know this, but it turns out freedom of speech does not help you when you are inciting violence or providing material aid to terrorist organizations.
Yep. I said that earlier. Like, the incitement of violence is not free speech. Incitement of terrorism is not free speech. Anyone who thinks that is... well, you know who you are.
So I know that I'm gonna have some Hasan retards in my chat, like I do. And, you know...
I can't wait for Hasan bitch-ass motherfuckers to come into my comment section and tell me how much I'm a bitch. How much I am a evil, xenogidal maniac who wants to kill everyone who isn't a National Socialist.
Oh, they're gonna be like, freedom of speech! But that doesn't work when you're inciting violence. So Hasan eventually returns.
MF can't even condemn a terrorist attack on American soil! If you guys are getting annoyed by my Nux impression, well, guess what? That's too bad. I'm gonna keep doing it for as long as I live.
To the game and hits you with an incredibly, incredibly classy response.
Yeah.
Israel is an apartheid
Sorry.
state doing live stream genocide. I think it's wrong and dangerous to conflate these heinous actions with Jews. The Apartheid Defense League doesn't because they think they can improve Israel's standing by silencing its critics. It won't change the truth. He can't condemn a terrorist attack on American soil, and the reason why he can't condemn it is because it's true. It's because he supports it. He supports it, in my opinion. He absolutely supports actual terrorist attacks. I showed you what he was saying about the IRA. He wants an IRA-style terrorist group in America to murder fucking people. That's my opinion. And he told people to make a terrorist organization to murder Americans so that people in America want to stop supporting Israel because they're getting bombed. In my opinion, that's exactly what he's saying. So he didn't directly double down by saying he supports it, because if he would do that, he'd probably go to jail. Because apparently that dude has a Twitch account, the murderer, and it's very likely he's a Hasan fan. And
Oh yeah, regarding his Twitch account, I had mentioned that Dan Clancy is a big fan of Hasan, to the point to where they sang happy birthday for him. I remember Nux covered a live stream that Dan Clancy hosted where people were asking Dan about the fact that Israel was shadow banned for years since the October 7th attacks. And people said, and they were saying that it was just an error. But the fact that it was for a whole year, and it was specifically Israel, their excuse was that because of the war that was going on, they had to block people from making accounts, even though they never did this with Russia or Ukraine. At least to my knowledge, and to Nux's knowledge, and stuff like that. But it was Israel that did all of that. They were shadow banning. And when people tried to bring it up, Dan Clancy would immediately delete the messages. And I had mentioned earlier about Asmongold describing Gaza as an inferior culture. And what happened was, he got banned for like 2 weeks, and as I said, it was a wake-up call for him, and he sought to improve himself. Hasan had been saying the same type of things that Asmongold did in that case, and he only got banned for like a day at max. He constantly violates Twitch's terms of service, inciting and promoting terrorism on his streams, and promoting the incitement of violence, and he just gets away with it. And this is why, until something is done about it, I will not be streaming on Twitch. I was going to at some point, or at least I did in the past, and then I decided I didn't want anything to do with Twitch.
And that's pretty terrifying. However, important to note, he doesn't condemn it at all. Literally, not even a little. Motherfucker can't even condemn a terrorist attack on American soil. Obviously not. He in fact supports a terrorist attack on an American soil, in my opinion. And that is why he doesn't condemn it. It's because he supports it. I've been saying this the entire time. It's only a matter of time until this happened. I think all of us predicted that eventually this shit actually happens. There is a actual, clear, and present danger for Jews in America. There is. There have been multiple anti-Semitic attacks all over the place, and this one is a very deadly one. A tragically deadly one. It's actually insane. So this was Hasan's first response to this situation.
Chatter, are you crazy? Chatter goes, yo, use this as your blast off meme. No, I'm not gonna do that, okay? Missed therapy appointment, so now I have to pay extra, and we're here. What is this? You about to be arrested? For what? Having a fucking fat cock? Don't think that's illegal.
Fuck is he even talking about?
Got him!
True. Alright.
See, he has to choose his words very carefully. On the one hand, he doesn't want to go to jail. On the other hand, he absolutely wants to signal to his chat that he supports murdering Jews in America.
Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, I had mentioned that he does his best to pick his words carefully so that he doesn't incriminate himself.
Blast off. Can you get through the news before 3 p.m. when I see the new Mission Impossible?
He's trying to blast off like he's Jimmy Neutron. Bitch, you ain't Jimmy Neutron. You ain't shit.
Superman?
Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
Should I use Tyrese Halliban? Should I do that?
He's trying.
I don't. No, dude, I can't. Yeah, I'm not gonna use this, dude. Y'all are so stupid. Give me. Okay, guys, this is not like. This is not a time to be fucking. It's not a time for you to say fun, wild, edgy things. Okay, there are.
Yeah, why not? Because it's sad that 2 people got murdered?
Probably 1,000 people in the chat currently documenting every single thing.
There we go. It's not because people got killed. No, we don't want you to be funny because it could blow back on me.
That you guys are saying in an effort to basically tie it back to me and this community and rob it of its context or anything like that, and to try to get me.
Oh yeah, like he gives a damn about context. Like people defending a guy named Vosh for his comments about loving teenagers, let's put it that way. People say that he's being taken out of context, yet he seemingly defends loving teenagers. And he was caught with like lolly horse stuff, so if you want to talk about context, Maybe you should look into that.
Be fucking deplatformed. Like,
Context, bro.
lock in. Stop fed posting. It's not time for memes. Just because you're anonymous doesn't mean you will stay anonymous. All this stuff, okay?
Yeah, bro sweating.
Well, no shit in your case, being anonymous. You're anything but anonymous.
Absolutely sweating, no doubt. Sweating more than he did in when he visited Diddy parties and brothels in Germany that sex trafficked children.
Yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning of the video.
I understand why he'd be sweating after all of those escapades that he's been through. You don't want people to start digging into your history. Professional pedophile shredder, actually, known for shredding pedophiles, commented on Hasan Piker is 480% fucked. I'm just saying. Just wanted to say this. Just wanted to make this clear.
Wait,
JD
here it
Delay
comes.
says Hasan needs to meet my woodchopper. Now, I didn't say it!
That's nice.
But I would not mess with Mr. JD Delay, alright? This is not a dude you want to be as your enemy, brother.
I don't know anything about this guy.
But I would not mess with Mr. JD Delay.
What is
all right?
he? I don't know anything about this guy.
This is not a dude you want to be as your enemy, brother. I would sweat too. You don't know what they do to pedophiles in prison. Again, not saying that he's a pedophile. Not saying he's not a pedophile. He called me a pedophile just to slander me. I never went to Diddy parties. Anyway, important to note, he keeps cooking. Hasan's cooking has not ended there. Because first Hasan stutters through a sentence saying, I know you're watching my stream and I don't want to say anything that'll get me in trouble, but I'm also not going to, condemn the attack. Because I'm kind of happy that they're murdering random people in America. I'm actually kind of happy about it, but I'm not allowed to say that. So anyway, this is Hasan letting it slip a little bit.
A little bit.
I'm not Mr.
No, shut up.
False flag at all, but like
I'm not Mr. False Flag. False flag means that Israelis murdered their own people to trick Americans into hating Hamas or something.
So the Candace Owens defense.
So he's like, I'm not Mr. False Flag, but I can explain all the reasons why it's a false flag.
I'm not saying it's a false flag, but...
single thing that he did in the aftermath of the shooting is so fucking crazy that it's like, you could not have fucking designed a incident like this.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. That wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I was going to mention this dog here. I feel so bad for that dog that it has to live with this creature here.
You could not have designed a better false flag incident like this. I'm not saying it is a false flag incident at all.
It's a guy that's part of the socialist fucking liberation bullshit party that's been going to protests forever in Chicago and shit. All right? What an actual demon. Look, I'm not saying that it's a false flag, but it's the perfect false flag. Everything is so perfect. The way it all lines up. He even said free Palestine. You know, the fucking shit that we've all been repeating for the last 2 years.
I'm not saying
no
that.
shit.
I think this is just a one dude who is genuine in his actions and maybe...
Genuine. Yeah, he murdered a lady who wanted to help bring aid into Gaza. And you're saying that his actions are genuine.
You know, a little bit brain broken, okay?
What?
Who is genuine?
I think he's a dude who's genuine. He's trying to Luigi Mangione, this guy.
Yeah, that's something else that happened. People are glorifying violence now simply because it's against people that we don't like. I like how my avatar is basically covering Hasan's face, because guess what? He doesn't need any more spotlight. Nah, I'm the one that needs the spotlight, so give it to me.
His heart was in the right place, bro. His heart was in the right place. He went to both sides of the fucking aisle. All right, he starts off, I don't want to say it's a false flag, but it's a perfect false flag. But I don't think it's a false flag. I think he's genuine. I think he's just a good man. Heart's in the right place. My guy, he's out there. He's based and cool like that. He's just so, he says what he means. He does what he says. He's just cool like that.
In his actions and maybe, you know, a little bit brain broken, okay?
All right, maybe he's a little edgy. Maybe he's...
Maybe he posted an edgy meme in Britain and now he's being arrested for it.
Edgy? I don't know if he's edgy or not. Anyway, this is Hasan's manager.
Oh, that guy. I know about that guy.
Enough. Violence begets violence. Palestinian.
But yeah, he was kind of collaborating with Hasan over his fake detainment. Excuse me. Yeah, he was collaborating with Hasan over his fake detainment, so that's all you really need to know.
Have been getting massacred in an ongoing genocide for 18 months. I'm trying to remember who started the war. Oh, right. Never mind. 2 diplomats for Israel, 1 German-born, 1 Christian, are assassinated, clearly for political reasons, whether you agree or not. And the final statement, this is not anti-Semitism. Hasan is so good. Dude, it's his whole group of people. No, they don't just hate Jews. They just murdered 2 random Israeli officials in front of the Jewish Public Library or whatever the fuck, museum. They just murdered 2 people there. Not because they don't like Jews. No. It's just based and awesome and cool. Yeah.
Yeah, assassinating people is just great. It's just awesome! It's just cool! Nah, bitch, you ain't shit.
It's anti-Zionism. It's not like Jews are getting beaten up everywhere, and people are slashing Jews' houses and shit. And that is happening, by the way. I'm sure you're not aware, because it probably doesn't affect you, and that's how the way the world works. But yeah, this happens.
Yeah, if you don't know what was, like, probably still is going on in, like, universities and stuff. Like, I mentioned Mahmoud Khalil being at these universities and stuff and promoting anti-Western, anti-American sentiment and actual terrorism. And of course, because he's being deported, people are saying that his free speech is being stifled. And that he's a... Yeah, stuff like that. And students beating up Jewish students simply for being Jewish. They just assume that because they're Jewish, that suddenly makes them pro-Israel, even though that's just not true.
Alive. Anyway, Hasan keeps getting better. All right, this is the clip I showed you before, how he's brain broken a little bit, and how he has a big heart.
Who is genuine in his actions and maybe, you know, a little bit brain broke.
Yeah, genuine in his actions. Heart was in the right place, motherfucker. Anyway, get ready, guys.
Oh.
Get ready, because Hasan, he keeps getting better. After advocating for terrorism, supporting multiple terrorist organizations, wanting terrorist organizations in the United States, dehumanizing Jews, they call him out on CNN. They're like, yo, this guy's fucking radicalizing people. Not saying that this person individually was radicalized directly by Hasan, but it's definitely the Hasan-type radicalization that is going on in America. That is incredibly fucking worrying.
Yeah, the fact that CNN is finally calling it out means that you know you done messed up. Because you know what? You know you done messed up when you don't call Bushido Brown Grandmaster Bushido Brown, the greatest black karate man who ever lived.
Of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like,
I think this is like not only defamation against me.
Motherfucker has the balls to talk about defamation when he literally slanders me every single time he talks to me.
Yeah, he's the last person that we should be asking about defamation. Or at least about being defamed. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait until his posse comes out and tries to defame me. Oh my god. I know I shouldn't be glad by it, but considering that people like Nux receive hate from people like Hasan on a regular basis, but he knows how to overcome it and laughs at their hatred, I feel like that it would be a good experience for me.
Or about me. Every time he talks about me, he slanders me. Literally every single time. He is now saying that he's being defamed by this guy, because this guy said that there are radical extremist terrorist supporters like Hasan. He's right. You are a radical extremist terrorist supporter. You are radicalizing fucking people. There are 8-year-olds on Twitch, bro. But he's defaming you.
But I think it's also defamation against the New York Times, too.
The New York Times?
The New York
How is
Times.
this defamation against the...
Good lord. Nah, I mentioned earlier in the video about how New York Times made a puff piece about him, where they featured a screenshot that featured some uncouth comments from his chat, and they had to crop it out.
The New York Times.
Because they also wrote my dehumanizing anti-Semitic sentiment. Of course, they wrote it in the most New York Times way possible.
I'm glad he's aware of it.
But they put it in the record where they said I accuse Israel of doing a genocide, you know?
What is that?
Because if that's his fucking framework...
Bro's munchin'.
Did you know that was coming? Yeah, I saw it this morning. It is defamation. He's a fucking...
It's not defamation.
Slanderous piece of shit.
Yeah. It's not defamation, actually. He actually said the actual complete truth, 100% the truth. Hasan, bro, you say this shit yourself. You dehumanize Jews yourself. So Asmongold reacted to this, and I'm really glad that he had the correct take. I am actually very...
The correct take. The only correct take is, well, I can't really tell you what that is. You guys are just gonna have to figure that out on your own.
Glad he had the actual correct take. So lock in, boys and girls. Let's see what Baldman had to say.
What's happening is that Hasan got named. Yesterday, 2 Israeli diplomats were killed.
If Nux is gonna do that, I guess I will do this. Well, I'll do this so that we can see more of it.
This is the guy that did the shooting. I believe that's him. There he is again. And there he is. So this is him talking right here. So he shot and killed 2 people.
So it's another Luffy, guys. It's another Luffy. Yeah.
Yep. Ever since the US started bombing the Houthis, Luffy the Houthi is no longer in one piece.
Oh, you knew Luffy? Well, introducing Zoro, ladies and gentlemen.
People call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric.
He didn't even blame Hasan directly for getting this guy to kill them. He just said that he used a genocidal rhetoric, and he's right! He's completely right. He did not lie about a single thing he said. This man over here, definitely a fan of the How Fucked Is Hasan Piker franchise.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we don't really know for sure, but he likes to joke that all of these people, I mean, Asmongold knows. He's seen a few of Nux's videos on Hasan and stuff, so it wouldn't surprise me if people in the government are aware of what this blue anime fucker's trying to do.
Extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly. But
it gets better.
Uh-oh.
This was from April 2025. Twitch needs
shit.
to stop making decisions based off of their radical, politically motivated moderation team, because eventually there's going to be a lack of moderation for something that's really bad, like some sort of like really bad, like somebody gets killed, like kind of like the Luigi thing, but like maybe a little bit worse than that. It's like political. And if you have people on Twitch that are supporting this, theoretically, every single advertiser is going to leave the platform.
There was already an apocalypse on Twitch, like, not too long ago. Of course, some people on Twitch were saying that there wasn't an apocalypse going on, even though there are other Twitch streamers that were saying, yes, there is an apocalypse. And depending on how this goes, then Twitch could end up being shut down. Who knows?
Instantaneous apocalypse situation.
Yeah.
I said this shit was going to happen. I told them this was going to happen. Like, if I was Amazon and I found out this was happening, I would fire everybody at leadership at Twitch by allowing this rhetoric on the platform.
Now, that's the thing. Does Jeff Bezos know about Hasan Abi over here? Does he know? Because we know that, at least according to South Park, he speaks telepathically and has a butt on the back of his head.
Platform, they opened themselves up to the accusations that, and again, this is people that are openly promoting terrorist organizations.
I believe what the Houthis are doing is a good thing.
In case you're not aware,
Oh, this was from his debate that he had with Ethan Klein. I had mentioned Ethan Klein earlier, that the two of them used to be co-hosts of a show, but Hasan got increasingly more and more radicalized, and so they've been beefing with each other. And Ethan has his content nuke about Hasan that Hasan refused to watch or even properly respond to because he said that it wasn't worth it.
In case you're not aware, the Houthis bombed civilians today. Today. Don't
shit.
go back in time. For every time they've ever bombed civilians, they bombed civilians today.
Of course they
This is a war crime. Hasan really cares about war crimes, right?
It's only a war crime if the one side does it. We're not terrorists. We're freedom fighters. There is a difference. Nah, bitch, you're terrorists. Frickin'. I was going to make a comparison to Jet from Avatar, but he actually is a Jet actually is a terrorist. And we know this because he tried to drown a village just because they happened to be Fire Nation.
Geneva Convention. Hasan knows all the tenets of the Geneva Convention, but he can accuse Jews. But
I know a thing or two about the Geneva Convention, like the fact that Mr. Beast seemingly violated the Geneva Convention with that one guy who was trapped in an isolation chamber, but that's besides the point.
nope, nobody else. It's been 0 days since they bombed civilians.
10 toes fucking down.
Let's give them a peace prize. Let's give them a peace
I think
prize.
they deserve it.
I actually think that this could be it. I think that a lot of people are massively downplaying how big of a deal it is.
Yeah, it's a
you
big deal.
have a named person that is being connected to an active terror attack who has a history of supporting terrorist organizations.
And not only is he supporting terrorist organizations, but advocating for a new terrorist organization in the United States to fucking bomb civilians, IRA style, to make fatigue against Israel.
Oh, I was going to say that... I don't even know what I was going to say. I was going to say that it's probably going to be a radical left organization. People in colleges are going to start bombing stuff. I mean, people are already bombing Tesla dealerships simply because the South African spaceman is associating with the Tangerine guy. Simply associating with him. Because for some reason, it's not okay when a billionaire sides with the one side, but for some reason, it's okay when billionaires side with their own. Even though they're both billionaires, or at least they're all billionaires, who are all probably guilty of something stupid, even if it's not necessarily criminal.
In my opinion.
This gamer, Hasan Piker.
This is really, really fucking bad. Extremely fucking bad.
Yeah, so, extremely fucking bad. I'm glad that he's on the, I'm glad he's on this page, because
Yeah, because with regards to Twitch started out as a gaming platform. And I don't know if you guys know this about Twitch, but it's 13 plus. And then they started transitioning it into the more lewd content. I'm sure you've probably seen like Twitch girl streamers that are all like half naked, literally just sitting around, like either looking through their phone or shaking themselves, or they're treating their underwear as a green screen in order to play games. And now, it's being used to platform terrorism. Think of what they'll do next.
There's no other perspective to be on. So this is Noah Samson. He's another one of the fucking
Oh yeah, this guy.
retards in the Hasan squad. Whatever.
Yeah, he tried to make a video about Ethan Klein and all that other stuff as well, and yeah.
I'll just show you like classic shit that they've been saying.
I think like this will never happen, but in a totally just world,
Right.
any kind of, regardless of your background,
Switch it
any
back.
kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi.
Right. So he's talking about in the United States of America.
Yeah, he equates people who are even remotely pro-Israel to being a National Socialist.
Right? Any Zionist tendency, right? That means ever thinking Israel has the right to exist, right? That is literally it. Thinking that Israel has the right to exist, according to Hasan, means you need to be treated like a neo-Nazi. How do you treat neo-Nazis, bro?
And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix was posting. If they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel.
If you have even the slightest support, you don't even have to support the Israeli government. Just the fact that the countries exist. If you support the existence of the country in the slightest, then apparently that's the equivalent of being a National Socialist.
Any positive feelings about Israel. You should not be a dog catcher. You should be dehumanized, treated like a Nazi, and essentially killed. Right? You punch a Nazi. That's kind of the public sentiment. That's why calling people Nazis is basically the new random shit that everyone uses to throw at everybody else.
I'm so serious about this.
He's so serious about dehumanizing.
You gotta believe me, I'm super serial about Man Bear Pig. Hasan is super serial!
Jews and anyone that thinks Israel has the right to exist, which is most normal people. But anyway, the craziest thing is, this is, I think, today, Noah Samson, a big fan of Hasan Piker, also known for endorsing violence against Jews. But anywho...
Yeah, I don't remember if it was this guy or someone else who was seemingly inciting violence in general, but his comments about inciting violence were retracted, I think.
Anywho, check this out.
Smart move on not covering current events, by the way. You mean specific current events or in general? Because
What specific current event? What specific events? What, like what? Like what?
two
specific-
pro-peace Jews dead. Read what they were saying.
Read what they were saying. They wanted
Who was they?
Israel to have the right to exist, but they wanted to help aid go into Gaza.
Yeah. I feel like I should just keep on bringing it up. Yeah, they killed someone who wanted to bring aid to Gaza. But because they were Israeli, apparently that's makes them a traitor? I don't even know. Trying to make it make sense, but the more you try, the harder it is.
Read what they were saying. He is endorsing the murder of two people, all right? He's saying, yup, I read what they're saying. It's all good.
Pro-peace is crazy.
Anyway, the chatter then asks him about his statements that the call for violence because protesting isn't enough. That is a known thing.
Oh yeah, this was what I was mentioning earlier. He made a video where he was implying a call to violence because protesting wasn't enough. And I think this was later retracted or redacted or something like that. I don't remember exactly what happened.
That Noah Samson actually said. He said that protest is not enough, implying that you need a higher level.
Yes, Noah has repeatedly made calls to violence and multiple protesting isn't enough.
True, yeah, he did. I covered it.
No, I'm scared. Oh, I'm scared. YouTube video scared me. No. And that sentiment, though, is 1,000% true.
Sentiment's true.
Oh, so he just admits it. Okay. I can't wait for the Noah Samson is 1,000% fuck video.
He once again doubles down, 10 toes on the ground, supports a level above protesting.
But protesting isn't enough.
Yep, he is endorsing violence against, he is scared, and he is endorsing direct violence, and in my opinion, inciting it too. Inciting violence against random Americans.
Yeah, pretty much.
Reese Puff hair looking motherfucker. A little update, because this is just an extension of the last clip I showed you.
Oh, shit.
See what he had to say.
Everyone in the Washington, D.C. community. I mean, think about it. These people, their only offense was going to the Jewish museum. They were killed because they attended.
And he laughed.
Sounds like a cough, but if it's a laugh, then I'm inclined to believe it.
Nope. Only offense. Jewish museum. What are you talking about? They're also Jews. They're
A Jewish event. I mean, I gotta say, Kate, in many ways, this was inevitable. I mean, think about the data. We've talked about it before. Everyone in the watch.
And he's laughing and he's smiling and he's rolling his eyes. It's like, innocent? Jews? Israelis that are innocent? Oh my god. He's not racist. He just wants to remove one race from existence. Ethan Klein's been popping off. He says, as much as Hasan fans and Twitter leftists celebrate the murder of 2 innocent Israelis, understand that me and Hila are just as valid targets to them.
Yeah.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, something that you guys should know. Ethan is Jewish. He's not exactly pro-Israel. He is pro-Palestine. That much is true. But apparently, to Hasan, Ethan isn't pro-Palestine enough. Ethan believes that Israel has a right to exist. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's pro-Israel, other than that it should be allowed to exist as a place for Jews to live. But of course, you can't have that if you're in Hasan's posse. Nah, you have to reject the fact that it even exists. Even if the government was completely different, that it actually did care about the people of the West Bank and Gaza and stuff. The fact that it even exists. No, the government of Israel could be completely different from what it is now, and they'd still probably reject its existence.
I've known about this as people like Hasan and iDubbbz lecture me about hallucinating threats. I knew this the moment I ended Leftovers. Why would I want to be a member of a community that would literally cheer on my death? There's a toxic, violent, nihilistic extremism brewing on the left, and it should scare all of us. And you know what?
Shit.
He's completely correct.
Yes.
Completely correct. He is. Absolutely.
Think like
There's no two ways about it. There are people in the streets cheering and jeering and shouting for globalizing the Intifada, making a endorsement of jihad, and it's crazy that this shit goes down.
People living in the West.
It's not even real jihad, that's the thing. Jihad just means struggle in general. When you're trying to do something and something is stopping you from getting it done, that is technically, at least from a basic semantic meaning, like actual, like jihad, just something that's more, I guess we can call it generic, because it just means struggle. It doesn't have to mean armed struggle. It can be literally any form of struggle. But you want to know what I think? I think we should declare jihad on Hasan. I'm pretty sure he would appreciate the irony. So let's do it. Let's declare social jihad on Hasan. I mean, Nux is already doing it with his How Fucked is Hasan Piker franchise. That is his form of jihad. So his struggle against Hasan and the bullshit that he be peddling like a bitch-ass motherfucker.
West have the most power over anyone else in the world to
So what should they do? What should the people in the West do?
stop the genocide.
What do they do with their power?
We are
Remember, just 2 days ago, Hasan was on a stream with this dude, right? This is 2 days ago. This is Hasan. This is the guy that's advocating for violence. And this is the guy that's advocating for violence. And this is the guy that's advocating for violence. Wow! The trifecta! The retard Avengers have us
All we're missing is iDubbbz and those other guys.
in the belly of the beast. We have direct geographical, physical access to the politicians, the propagandists, the weapons companies, and the supply chains.
So, people in the West have power because they have access to politicians.
Proof of this? I don't know any politicians, so it's not like I have so how exactly do I have access to any of them?
How does access to politicians help you?
That are facilitating this genocide. Protesting is great. We should keep doing that. But
Right.
also, I feel like we have to be honest with ourselves.
Right.
17 months in, and what is protesting actually accomplished? Raising awareness, sure. Divestment, yeah, in some places. But really, politically, materially, nothing.
So protesting is not enough. Protesting is not enough. However, we have access to the politicians, and protesting isn't enough. But we have physical access to the politicians.
Israel just killed them.
Yeah, I don't have access to politicians. I just said I don't know any politicians, and quite frankly, I don't really want to know any of them.
The most children in its history in a single night with total impunity, with a deafening silence among the Western media. If we want this genocide to stop, it's time to escalate.
Escalate from protesting with physical access to politicians.
That's all. People living in the West.
Wonder what that... Oh, that's violence! Right, that's violence. Correct. He's right. That's true. Yeah, he wants violence. They're all advocating for violence. And they're not just advocating for any little old violence. They're advocating for terrorism in the United States. That's what they're all doing. And, by the way, hot take, that is a crime. That is not protected by freedom of speech. If you are inciting terrorist attacks in the United States, then you are breaking the law. That is not protected by freedom of speech. Nuxanor, you didn't count. You repeated the 14K lie. Yeah, there was this whole lie that's been going on for the last couple of days saying that Israel's going to kill 14,000 babiys in the next 24 hours.
That never happened.
And then they all deleted their news stories because that didn't end up happening.
Oh, yeah, Nux reported on that, the other day.
I think that was another scam, fucking bullshit scam, obviously. Another strategy, another flim-flam, another epic move to get people,
Les epic move, les epic meme. It was just a troll, guys. Lay epic meme, as they call them.
Riled up. Nicely done, guys. Very impressive. Is this the dog catcher one? Yeah, no, this is the one I just showed you. Never mind. So, interestingly enough, there is a rule on Twitch. The rule is...
Oh, this. Yep. Hasan violates this on a regular basis, and he gets little to no punishment for it. Yeah, Asmongold gets banned for 2 weeks for saying some similar things. But this guy, at most, he gets a day.
Is against terrorism and violent extremism. For example, you should not be linking or displaying extreme propaganda, including graphic pictures or footage or a terrorist of a terrorist or...
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, something I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video is that he showed a quote-unquote Houthi musical that was a propaganda video that was made by the Houthis, where within the video, they had Mauser rifles, which was a type of rifle that the National Socialists of Germany were using. And he compared them to Anne Frank. What a strange comparison, if I do say so myself.
Extreme violence, even for the purposes of denouncing. Alright? So, zero endorsement, glorifying, or engaging terrorism or violence. This is Hasan reading the fucking terrorist manifesto completely uncritically.
Let's start. Alentar is a word that means something like thunder or lightning. In the wake of an act, people look for a text to fix its meaning, so here's an attempt. The atrocities committed by Israelis against Palestine defy description and defy quantification. Instead of reading descriptions mostly, we watch them unfold on video, sometimes live. After a few months of rapidly mounting death tolls, Israel had obliterated the capacity to even continue counting the dead, which has served its genocide well.
Alright, now Hasan is thinking, do I endorse the terrorist manifesto or not? And he thinks, and he's rolling over in his head. And he decides, you know what? I'm not going to endorse the terrorist manifesto. I'm just going to make it incredibly obvious that I endorse the manifesto.
At the time of the writing, the
yada yada, he keeps reading, and he keeps going, and he keeps reading, and he just completely uncritically reads a terrorist manifesto on stream, probably to get his audience to follow suit, if I had to guess. Who knows? Who knows what his actual strategy is? I mean, this is what his chat was doing while he was reading the manifesto.
All of these figures are almost surely a criminal undercount. I have no trouble believing the estimates that put the toll at 100,000 or more. More have been murdered since March of this year than in the Protective Edge and
all of these people are so full of shit.
Casled put together.
Yeah, so essentially an entire...
No, when they come after me, when each and every one of these guys comes after me, then I'll know I've done my job well.
Entire audience just out there spamming hearts for the terrorist manifesto. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. We could keep going. We could keep clipping. I could keep showing you more and more examples, obvious ones and not obvious ones, of him essentially doing his very best to incite violence and to make it look like he supports this terrorist attack without directly saying he supports the terrorist attack. Because from all the information I've showed you so far, this isn't just he wants to kill people in Israel, which he does, as I've shown you. He wants to genocide everyone in Israel. It's literally what he says himself.
Now, does that include all the Arabs and non-Jews that live there? Because there's a number of peoples that live within Israel, one of which is an ethno-religious group known as the Druze, for which one of Hasan's friends was said on a stream, what the fuck is a Druze? The Druze are an ethno-religious group that are an offshoot of Ismaili Shiism that kind of broke off and did their own thing. Not only do they recognize the Quran as scripture, but they also recognize something called the Epistles of Wisdom that was written by their founder. There are some videos by Religion for Breakfast and Let's Talk Religion that talk about them, but if you want to learn more, you can probably look them up on your own.
He supports the terrorist organizations that directly want to do that, but he has been inciting violence and terrorist attacks in the United States of America as well. Again, I didn't even want to get into like the actual geopolitical issues of this episode. I wanted 500% Fuck to literally talk about how this dude is directly endorsing terrorist attacks, in my opinion, in the United States. I didn't even need to get into all the other fucked up shit that this man's been doing. I don't even want to get into the geopolitics because it's essentially not even relevant right now, because endorsing terrorist attacks in America has nothing to do with any geopolitical situation in the Middle East. It doesn't. And if you can delude yourself into thinking it does, then you're retarded. Thank you so much for joining episode 500% Fucked.
Alright. Hold on, I
was gonna make this different, as I mentioned earlier. I will be making a big S anti-Hasan video soon.
Now, if anyone watches this video, and I don't know why you guys would watch this when I'm pretty sure there are better people to watch besides me. I'm only just starting my YouTube career, and so far it's been very, very slow, which I guess is to be expected. But if somehow this video blows up overnight, and I'm not expecting it to, but if it does, would any of you want me to react to that video? Because I went into this expecting him to make that video that he was teasing here, but this is not bad at all, honestly. This was definitely something, and we definitely touched upon a whole lot of points that were brought up. Every time, if I decide to make another video, I don't know when the next time I'm going to make another video reacting to Nux will be. I don't want to react to every single one of these How F Does Hasan videos, because he uploads on this channel like twice a day, and I have a job that I gotta do, so I don't have the time for that. But I will be reacting to some of the more major milestones. As a matter of fact, I recently made a reaction to his Johnny Somali is 900% fucked video. So if you guys want to watch that, I had so much fun reacting to it, you guys might like it. I'll probably upload that. But until then, this is a pretty good introduction, or an introductory reaction to the How Fucked is Hasan Piker series. It's been a wild ride thus far, and we're only halfway there. So, I'll see you next time. Take care, and this was none of your business.